Hi folks and welcome to the Irish Wrestling Podcast. My name is Colin Byrne and with me as always we have the hardest working referee in wrestling, not just Irish wrestling, all of wrestling, Noel Foxy Fox.
Hello.
And Mark with his smudgy camera. Let's call it out before people are looking at their screen going, what the fuck's going on there? Mark's camera's a bit fucked at the moment. So he has to
I'm
sit
a victim of a crime, yeah.
he has to sit to one side, otherwise he's in witness protection. We don't have Jerry and Liz with us today. They are currently, this is Friday evening, they're currently on a flight to New York to enjoy their holiday. They will be attending Impact while they're over there, so hopefully we'll get some stuff from them. I believe they have a few things lined up and they enjoy their trip. But guys, today we are here to talk about our excursions in London. Now, we have done something separate on All In, where myself and Mark have discussed the All In show. Briefly, didn't get into too much detail. We didn't go match by match, but that's out there as well. But what we do want to look at is the other stuff that was going on around London during All In weekend, because there was fucking loads. And our very own Noel Fox was working a couple of shows as well. Foxy, an overall brief, how was your weekend in London?
It's actually a mixed bag, to be honest. Because there was a lot of stuff that happened before I flew over. The shows themselves, fantastic. Absolutely loved that. It was a great experience. But there was a lot of other things that popped up during that week. Yeah, stressful. Well, no, I enjoyed the shows. I was glad to be a part of it. Everyone was super friendly. Tom Scarborough looked after me so much. Just didn't need to, but he really looked after me while I was there.
I heard he bailed out early on a drinking session. Is that correct?
That is correct. Let's
try to throw him under the bus here.
This is not and it wasn't the first time he did it. So, I landed in London on the Thursday, and I met up with him the Thursday evening. To his suggestion, he was like, "Right, drop down here. We'll have a couple drinks, catch up, and then we'll play by ear." I was like, "Okay." Drop down, we start drinking, and it was meant to just be okay, meet up one or two, chat, and then we'll catch up properly tomorrow after the show. But yeah, one drink turns into two, and it steadily progresses, and end up doing a mini pub crawl.
As you do.
Yeah, and by what was it? I think it was getting to 10:30, 11 o'clock, and then suddenly he's like, "I need to go for my train." I'm in London. I'm on holiday.
You're meant to be whining and dining me,
Yeah, you're meant to be here, keeping me company. No, he leaves me with his friends, and no disrespect to them. It's they looked after me when he left, but they even laughed at it as well. It's yeah, he does this. He always I need to leave, and either it doesn't happen or it does happen. So, but had fun. They looked after me. But yeah, he did. He bailed out very early on the Thursday night.
Massive scoop there. Tom Scarborough can't hang.
I love him.
He's a good plug.
Good dude to fucking hang out with. Really.
Mark, you arrived on Friday, I believe.
Yeah, Friday morning, straight over. First thing in the morning, straight over. I was lucky enough to be staying in the same hotel as a lot of talent. So, yeah, there was loads of media junkets, so much going on in and around the area in Wembley. So yeah, pretty flat out. Running into the likes of Tony Khan in the elevator, both of us on the way down to the gym, chatting to him and getting to meet Jeff Jarrett and stuff at lunch or breakfast and whatnot. So yeah, then the media junket, you're in the same spaces. A lot of people you're constantly in contact with over stateside. I was covering a lot of stuff for Steve Hall and 10 Count Media. I was doing stuff for Michael from SE Scoops. Obviously then tie in with Body Slam, Cassidy Haynes and that crew as well on the Friday. So yeah, listen, it was fairly flat out. And then thankfully went up to meet yourself, Colin, over in Camden to watch our one and only Niall do his absolute magic. and steal the show in Clapham Grand, and yeah, steal the show at Riot Cabaret.
Yeah, it was. I like that venue.
Yeah.
Someone said to me that that's where they recorded the first couple of seasons of Taskmaster.
Alright.
I'm not sure if anyone was aware of that, but yeah. Again, this could be absolute bullshit. This is third hand info. If it's wrong, blame Rob Harmon. Get on
Rob Harmon
get
is
onto his
spoofer.
Twitter.
Rob Harmon is
Thrown
spoofer.
on the bus.
Yeah.
Actually, sorry.
He told me this was fact. So just a little tidbit about Rob. Actually, I flew over with Rob and a few other lads, and Mark's showing up the hands there. So we did a little walkabout in London. We did a tour bus. We went walking down through Trafalgar Square and stuff. Every single person that Rob came across with a wrestling t-shirt on, he threw the hands up, Adam Cole, baby. So I'm walking around with Rob in London just screaming Adam Cole, baby at people. There was like a kid walking down the side of the bus while we're driving past wearing a wrestling t-shirt, and he's screaming off the top of the bus at them. And I thought it was hilarious. A couple of people were mortified, but all in good fun. But yeah, the Clapham Grand was the first shout out that we hit. We were all there. Very warm. Very, very warm Friday evening in London. It was roasting. Very fun show. My first Riot show. I've only seen one other. Was the musical that they did. I think it was Crowley and Session Mott in the main. They had a musical match or something. Was so weird, but I was so looking forward to seeing what kookiness instilled in this show, and I wasn't disappointed at all. It was weird and wonderful. Foxy, you worked the show. How did it come about, first off?
How that came about was actually, it was by accident, because I knew I was going to be doing Progress. Mm-hmm. And I knew I was going to be flying in on the Thursday. So I had actually just mentioned it in passing. It's like to Tom. It's like, just would there be any chance of, like, who do I have to get in touch with for Riot Cabaret? And it's like, took him a little bit. He ended up replying. You can always you can always message these here, but like I can say it to them if you want. It's like, sure, yeah, I think it'd be better if it comes from someone that's local. Put the vouch. But not only that, he was so good that he's like, not only that, like I'll get Session Mod to actually like mention it as well, because she's gonna be working the show. I didn't even have to mention it to her, and she already knew what I was gonna say. It's like, I was talking to Tom about Riot Cabaret. Yep. I already had that conversation with him. Don't worry, we'll get you there. so it was actually a case of like, right, I mentioned it in passing, and other people did it for me. They put the word in, and all that was left for me was to just not let them down. Really, like I've always had a problem with just either asking for favors or asking people to do this in order to get me into places. But unfortunately, like, I'm not getting any younger, and I need to work as many places as possible, as often as possible. So I have to start relying on my friends and just like, here, any chance of getting in there. And Riot Cabaret came about, so I was delighted that I was actually going to be doing more than one show in London, because I had my gear. Like, rule number one, always bring your gear. But I was just determined that, like, okay, if I am gonna be working, hopefully I can make some money, maybe, but even without that, the experience will be more invaluable, because the UK scene is known for utilizing the earpiece. The Irish scene, not so much.
Yeah, you were saying that to us on the night. How was it working with the earpiece?
I was more nervous for Riot Cabaret than I was Progress. Let's put it that way. And that was only because of the earpieces. Because I'm very, very comfortable in my job. I'm very comfortable. I know what to do when situations arise. and I'm trained old school. I use a watch to keep my times. But having someone in your ear is a bit daunting because you do worry. Can I focus on this while also still doing my job?
Yeah.
Because especially with a loud crowd, I was so worried about it. But thankfully, like the earpiece, it's very straightforward. We had Shaz Samuels being producer on the radio, so that he was grand. He's like, so I can't mess with you tonight. He's like, no, Sha, please be nice. Be nice. This is my first time wearing an earpiece. Don't do it. Don't do it.
It's probably worse telling them that.
I know.
Yeah, you're asking him to do it then.
I know. I was kind of expecting him to do it, but he was like, no. When I did the first match, the only thing that he really says, like, those counts are really fast. I'm like, what? Like, your counts are really fast, like for the pins. Okay, I'll fix it then. But other than that, there was not any other issues. By the time I went out for my next match, I had completely changed how I counted again. Again, adapting on the fly, something that people can't really do nowadays. But when I walk backstage, he's like, "Thank you. That was what I wanted. I wanted that count." Like that, it just a slight change, but like made a big difference in terms of what they were used to, as opposed to me coming in, and I would probably put it down to a bit more of nerves, just because like with the frenetic pace that like matches can have, but obviously with new things as well, your attention is drawn somewhere else. But no, I loved it. It was great to finally work with different people as well. I hope to go back and work with them some more or have them over here.
Any standouts?
Tate Mayfair's.
I thought you were going to say him, prick.
Yeah. No, he stood out. He stood out. You also had.
Yeah, he's a very good worker. In fairness to him, although he did take a couple of shots at me on Twitter, and he's still always going to be a prick to me. But yeah, I think he has that. He's pretty good at drawing. I think he could be pretty good. I'd like to see him come over.
I remember the first time I seen one of his promos, and like within 5 seconds of watching it, I was like, I hate you. I hate you. Yeah. Like that. It took me a second. I was like, I'm getting worked. He's good. He's fucking good. Like that. It's something that I haven't seen in a little while, where someone just instantly right. Yeah. I hate you right off the bat. Like motherfucker barely said anything, and I already hate him.
Yep.
So, very good to work with. I'm trying to remember. Give me 2 seconds. I just pull up the name of it, because he was tagging with someone in the match, and I do apologize. I'm just terrible with names. Let's see. Where are you?
Mark actually put me on to Tate Mayfair's as well. I believe Mark's a bit of a fan of his.
Yeah, he's good. Like there's so many similar wrestlers on the scene, particularly in the UK. I find that like there's a huge amount of them get brought over with buzz because of certain movesets and skill sets they have, and there'd be quite a huge amount of overlap between them without actually having a huge amount of depth in them as characters or people. So when you see somebody like Tate Mayfair or Spike Trevay, in my opinion, I see the two of them and I'm like, that's who you could bring over and put into a story. Whereas if you
have them as a tag,
you have them as a tag. You can
very similar.
You could do like one or the other as a tag, whatever. Like whereas as opposed to bringing somebody over and bring them over just so they can have like an electric match as such without understanding who they are. Whereas you can do Spike Trevay or Tate Mayfair as they come in, do a run in. You can do an angle off the back of them, and that's what I'm more interested in. My kind of.
You want to see more investment in them. You want to see them. Yeah. So I think what you're saying is you want to see them in a position that they're going to be brought back again and put into a program rather than just a one spot I think what
there's
seeing the multi-man chaotic type matches now, I love them, but like I get exactly what you mean. Like
that's for me. That's what I'm currently investing more of my kind of time and thought process in wrestling into. Like I got huge appreciation for all different types of styles, and realize you need to have them all on a card. But that's the type of like that's why I put you on to Tate Mayfair despite Trevay. I think you can bring them in. You can like have them in, do something with LJ. Like that'd be awesome. Like Spike with LJ or Tate with LJ. I think that'd be class. Anyway, sorry, that's my just 2 bits there while Niall was gathering himself.
Yeah. Like James Ellis. James Ellis was tagging with Tate Mayfair's, and there was something about him that like just it did grab my attention. That like I'm very curious to see more of him.
Yeah.
I think now it's still early doors for me to make a judgment on him, but I do think there's something about him there. But I still have to see more of him.
Something different. It was it wasn't the same. It was and it fit in well, and he wasn't like necessarily a background character to that match either. He felt like he had his own unique presence, I thought.
Exactly. The girls that I work with, like they're good. Like again, you can tell like they're still very new, very new, but you can see the makings of like very good wrestlers being there. Like the young girl, she was only like 19. Is it Saphir or something?
I know the one you're talking about. She worked the Rev Pro show as well, I think.
Like I do apologize for not having your name. I'm again, as I said, I'm terrible. I'm meeting so many people in such a short space of time. I'm like, who the hell's talking?
Sapphire Reed.
That's the one.
That's it.
Yeah. So I trained with her a few times in the Rev Pro London school. She's excellent. She's really young, but she's working her arse off. She's in every show possible. She does crew for every weekend possible and every show up and down the whole of the UK. I trained with her and she's bloody good.
Because I got to work with her and was it Lizzie or Lizzie? Or again, like both of them are really good. I could see how well they took to wrestling by how they call a match, but when actually implementing it, that's where you see the inexperience. But again, both of them I think could they will definitely be on our radars like in the next year or two. Like absolutely. Good attitude as well, very nice to talk to. So freaking hell, like especially with the heap of talent that's over in the UK, like I could definitely see them getting better in 6 months.
Yeah.
So but all in all, like I enjoyed myself at Riot. Like I'd definitely be happy to go back again if they'll have me. And yeah, that was the Friday night. What did I end up doing after that?
Hey, hazy memory. What did you do?
Yeah, that's always a good sign, isn't it?
Is that the night you were sending us dodgy texts asking where are you out?
That was the Thursday after Tom left them, I think.
Thursday,
that was the Thursday. Just a shout out to James, and is it Sean is the other promoter in Riot. I think it's Sean, James and Sean.
Again,
two great people. James actually does the announcing for them as well. And just a shout out to them, they're very hospitable. I did speak to them before I went over to see could we organise maybe an interview or something. Unfortunately, with them being so busy in the run up to a show and show day being so busy, we weren't able to do anything. But James has assured me that we could do something in the future, or maybe get him on for an interview. So watch this space. But I just want to give them a bit of a shout out. A friend of mine was only after coming off an operation, a hip operation, who travelled over, and there was only standing available, so she got onto the promotion and asked them, is there any chance I can have a seat somewhere, throw me up the back, anywhere that I can sit down, just somewhere with a view. And in fairness to them, they gave her 2 seats on the floor, right in front of the ring for her and a companion, and I think just little stuff like that just goes such a long way in how the promotions view their fans and are able to facilitate their fans. Just one other thing to touch on. I know Mark was probably a bit as taken aback as I was. There was two kind of kooky, weird, kind of outlandish type deals during the show. There was one bit with Nina Samuels where it just breaks out into a musical.
Fantastic. That was absolutely brilliant.
It was brilliant.
That was
He stole the show with that.
Yeah.
I was 100%. That was unbelievable.
It was just one of those moments, you know, when you're not expecting it as well, and then you're just like, what the fuck is happening? And then like it takes a minute, and you're like, this is phenomenal.
I was in the background chanting, "This is wrestling." Like that was. I loved it. Yeah.
But then we have the celebration after the Session Mott and Charles Crowley victory, where they break out into song then, which again just two. We talk about creating memories in wrestling, and it's always something that everyone talks about. It's not the matches, it's the memories. And there are definitely two instances that will stick with you. You may not remember, as we've had even here, you may not remember the names because you've met so many people. You may not remember the match, but you definitely remember those couple of moments, you know.
Yeah.
And they're definitely the two standouts that will stick with me of just being so weird. And it's something for me that makes Riot different, gives them their own kind of little thing, and that niche in such an already niche space enable them to get the fans to their shows, you know.
It's in the name. It's doing cabaret.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the name. Like it's and in the venue they have, like Clapham's kind of famed for that. They do cabaret shows in that venue. They do all sorts of concerts, whatnot. And Clapham's kind of a very young person area where there's so much very modern, very hipsterish. So it kind of goes hand in hand where they're hosting it and people running it, the people attending it, and it's a very unique and welcoming atmosphere. I was there with a friend who I write with from Wrestle Inn, and he needed essentially he had a bit disability, and he brought me along as a carer's ticket, and people there in the Clapham Grand couldn't have been more hospitable in terms of making sure he had a chair and making sure he was looked after. So yeah, it was a brilliantly welcoming atmosphere to echo Colin's sentiments about our friend who had hip surgery as well. So really, really enjoyed it.
Sorry, just one other thing that I forgot about. Ed Gamble was there, which is so fucking weird. Who Mark didn't have a clue who he was. I don't even know if Foxy has a clue who he is. If anyone doesn't, he's a big English comedian and podcaster, and he does a podcast with James Acaster called Off the Menu, which focuses on Taskmaster. So that was a bit of a weird, wonderful experience for me to meet Ed Gamble at a wrestling show, which was very strange. But let's move on to Saturday. Saturday was a big day. There was about 5 shows on
in the one day.
Yeah, so it was very much a selective pick and choose where you're kind of going with this one, and unfortunately it's a case you can't go to all of them, you know. So the
trains are a bloody nightmare as well. Yeah, they're fucking the amount of trains that are changing routes and people on strike. It was Saturday. It was a shit show. But anyway, fun. Sorry.
We actually got caught in a thunderstorm as well for about 30 minutes, which was mental. We got destroyed. But yeah, so I think we were all at Defy in Camden.
Yeah.
Foxy was ignoring us, probably soothing his hangover from the night before.
Hang on the fuck! Like you were ignoring me. You were up in the fucking balcony.
Sorry,
I was
we
looking
were waving
down
at you and shouting at you and all, and you were down with your crew backstage.
Backstage, I was standing like at the back of the venue, like just fucking watching the show.
I took a picture of Foxy from the balcony, just looking down, and just sent it to him.
Like I sent a picture to the group, just like, right, here's where I'm standing. This is what I can see. About like 15 minutes later, I look at my phone and it's just like someone's looking down at me. I'm like, where the fuck? There's no one there now. Like by the time I look up, so
those matches started.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were all at that Defy show.
Busy rubbing elbows with like Meltzer and stuff like that. That's what you're doing.
Too cool now, mate. You know, way too cool.
Yeah, that alright. Yeah.
That was an experience. So myself and Mark were actually standing up on the balcony for that show, and it was, I think I mentioned this, it was very surreal watching the show kind of behind Meltzer and how he kind of does things, and how he I'm not sure about you, Mark, but like he had a stopwatch. Now it wasn't a stopwatch on your phone. It was one of those coaches stopwatch, go around your neck, kind of clicky button stopwatch, timing every match, taking notes then at the end of it, and then giving a score, which I did see in his newsletter that he didn't actually publish his scores, which I was a bit disappointed.
Yeah. Like, and to be fair, before we go any further, I just want to say a big shout out, thank you to Lee McAteer, Martin Best, and James, the head PR, for Progress in TNT Wrestling. They looked after us unbelievably, had us up to the VIP balcony, sitting beside Meltzer and Brian Alvarez, which again, as I say, was a very surreal experience. Sit beside, literally directly beside Meltzer. As I say, he was timing his match with the stopwatch. He had his girlfriend with him as he was dictating to her notes for her to type immediately, and scores of matches. And Brian's a gentleman, by the way. He couldn't have been any sounder.
I was actually very surprised, because I've butted heads with Brian a couple of times on social media, just on a couple of opinions. I'm not a troll. I'm the furthest thing from a troll.
You're a knuckle dragging basement dwelling troll.
We've butted heads a couple of times, so I actually didn't. I was very surprised with how pleasant and how nice he actually was, and massive change of opinion for me on
100%, same, 1,000,000%. Couldn't have been a nicer fella, genuinely. Really, just a lovely little fella.
Little fella.
Yeah,
because Mark's 7 foot, like.
There you are. Anyway, I was actually shocked by how short he was, but that's beside the point. Like, even like James and Nicole, they gave us the run of the place, said we could do whatever we want, we can set up whatever we want, we can talk to whoever we want. Unfortunately, nobody's available, but these things happen. And then I got to meet Jim Perry, the head of Defy. He was a really, really absolute gentleman, really, really nice guy. He's brought Defy over, obviously, from the West Coast in America, brought them all through Canada, teaming me up with Progress, doing shows with them, bringing them over to the UK as well. So, yeah, it was an unbelievable experience. Both companies couldn't have been more accommodating or kinder and more helpful to both of us, so hugely appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to add on to that, I arrived at the venue first before Mark, and I was waiting for Mark. Mark having travel issues getting across London, which seemed to be the theme of the day for us. But I was just chilling out front and just seeing Martin and the lads, just how they greeted everybody coming in the door. Like, it was like, and I know we see promoters do that, but like they were so happy seeing people remembering their names, like not just like saying hello, but like some people were getting hugs and high fives, and it's such a small gesture. It is such a small gesture, but it adds to that welcoming environment that they create there, and it's from the moment that the fans are walking through the door, that Martin was the main person at the door, and he was greeting absolutely everybody, and like everyone was coming in with a smile on their face.
Yeah, I was over at Super Strong Style in the Electric Ballroom as well, and there really is like a family atmosphere amongst it, because a huge amount of those people who are getting greeted and hugged by Martin and Lee, they're coming from all over the UK. There's people who come from Scotland and stuff, get the train down every few weeks for a Progress show, and they're there, rain, noon or shine. They're down outside the venue at like 9 a.m, 8 a.m, waiting for the doors to open. The doors mightn't open until 6 p.m, but they're there together, having an experience all day long, and people from all over the UK. So that added touch of inclusivity, making them feel welcome, thanking them for spending their money to travel, come to London, spend time on the shows. It's a small gesture from Lee and Martin, but it's something that's greatly appreciated by everybody who attends, and it does reflect the atmosphere in the venue too.
Yeah. But let's look at some of the wrestling. We got to see a couple of our own, LJ and Sessionmot, in a tag match. Sessionmot tagging with Jean and LJ tagging with Lizzie. Very, very fun match. I think that there was 2 shows back to back, so it was Defy and Progress, and there was some matches that were announced for Progress that ended up being on the Defy show, and probably vice versa. Mainly, more than likely to suit the people who had to get elsewhere to other shows, and as we said, that there was 5 shows on that day, so getting across London to other shows, so there was matches moved. So but yeah, great to see the 2 guys in English wrestling ring, and kind of an appreciation for me to kind of see the reception that they're getting from a crowd outside of the bubble that I'm used to being in. I think I said this in a video that I put up earlier in the week. it kind of fills you with that kind of pride kind of thing. It's like seeing like some of your own kind of going off and making it elsewhere, and it's great to see that, because I wasn't expecting to see the receptions that they got. I got to see Session Mod the night before, but then getting to see LJ on the Saturday as well. Foxy was there in attendance nursing a hangover. I'm not sure how much of that match you got to see, Foxy, but
Do you remember? Jeez, yeah, he was in the horrors. No. He was in the horrors. Jeez, it was on a 3-day bender, that man. Sorry.
Hangovers don't exist for me.
Oh wow. I've been in a car trip down to Limerick dying with you, so they very much do exist for me, and you've seen that.
Yeah, I've seen that. Like, you fucking lightweight. I'm messing. No, but to tack on to what you're saying, like, that match itself, like, it was so entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so entertaining, a great dynamic. Like, you had like two faces against a heel and a face.
Yeah.
In like Lizzie and LJ, but LJ even acknowledging this, it's like, she's my friend.
Yeah.
I don't want to hurt her, and the story of that like building over through the course of the match, and just entertaining spots as well. Like, Gene is so fucking funny, like, to watch.
Amazing.
And then to have like the dynamic between him and Session Ma, like, and also playing up to little Easter eggs to matches that never ended from
the
fucking
Fall
years
Counts
ago.
Anywhere match, yeah.
Yeah, the never-ending fucking match.
Yeah, like
Which
after the match, we got an attempted pin from Session on Gene. So
yeah, which I love, because I was there to ref the start of that match. So I hopefully am there when they finally decide to finish.
It can't ever finish. It can't ever finish.
No,
it just has to go forever.
Never-ending battle.
It's one of those things that just has to happen. Isn't that right, Mark?
Yeah, 100%.
But
it was a really cool spot at the end as well. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I love that match, but also, like, the match for me was the main, which was Kenta versus Haskins. Like, just that, when I had seen the announcement weeks in advance, I was like, I want to ref this. Like, I want to ref this match. And sadly, that wasn't on the cards. Wasn't doing Defy, unfortunately. Like, they had two referees there, but like, and one was like, there was two of us like also waiting in the wings for progress, but it would have been nice to do that one.
Well, just a little note on that, Foxy. You will get your chance to do probably 3 Kenta matches now. The end of October. So and you had a Haskins match last week. So like
So like, obviously I can talk about it now, but like, when I first walked into the venue, like the Electric Ballroom, the first two people I bump into is the Haskins, like Mark and Vicky, and it's fantastic because I hadn't seen him in a while, but it's like, it's the first thing they say is like, "Oh, we'll see you next week." It's like, no, brilliant.
That's brilliant.
I love working with them. I do. They're fucking sweethearts there.
Yeah.
Like, I just some of the best people to be around. But again, like, it was also great to, like, the weekend in general was great to see not only new people but also get to hang out with friends that I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Like Sunshine Machine, TK and Mambo, like, I love those guys, and feckin' when they see me on the Friday for Riot, they're like, no way, like, they're so delighted to see me, and like asking is like, are you working tonight? He's like, yes I am. It's like, brilliant stuff. Like, but then when I told them I was doing progress, I was like, even better. So like, that was great for me, like, to actually like get to hang out with friends, like both old and new. Loved it. Like, I really enjoyed it. As I said, I enjoyed the weekend. Like, wrestling related, it was fantastic. Some things outside of it, no, not so much, but a lot of stress going into that one. But no, like, I loved it. Like, the fight was fantastic. And then being able to actually do progress itself. Nobody told me how fucking high the ring is.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
One of the things
Uh,
that Mark was
it's
going on
actually-
about for ages
Well,
before we got over there as well.
Fucking ridiculous. Yeah, I've trained in that ring. It's fucking yeah. Go on, sorry.
Like I didn't notice. Because like where I was standing, like you know yourself, where I was standing is far back
Yeah,
away from
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But like I was just looking at the ring. But it wasn't until I went down from my like the first match I was reffing that as I was getting closer, I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the
Yeah.
fuck?
Yeah.
Like normally a ring would be about like there, about
Yeah.
just above your waist or just at your belly. This thing was to my chest,
Mm.
and I'm like, I have to jump to get this thing. Like I have to proper jump up, and nearly didn't fucking make it as well.
Should have stayed. We should have stayed.
I
Mark.
thought. Do you know how there is a WWE Network promotion for a while? I assumed it was something to do with like that was TV height ring. Like WWE, you know, they've got like 4 steps to the ring.
Yeah.
Other shows will have 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So I assumed it was something to do with that they're trying to mimic what you see in WWE to kind of give people the best shot. But even like the ropes and stuff, it's a million times tighter than any other ring I've ran. But yeah, sorry, that was something that really did my head in when I was there previously as well.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Like got to ref 2 matches for Progress, which I'm delighted to be given that opportunity. As I said, like I was more nervous for Riot Cabaret, mainly because of the earpiece. But come Saturday, I was absolutely ready, like for Weber, and it was a good thing I was because like the first match I ref is Nathan Cruz against Paul Robinson, and Robinson picks up a concussion like early on.
Shit. Okay.
Yay! So for the entire duration of that match, I'm like trying to look after him, make sure
What
that
was
like,
the spot?
it was the brawl on the outside.
Okay.
Brawl on the outside. Nathan sent him into like a chair or something.
Yeah.
Like Rob just dove into him, fucking caught himself.
Yeah.
Caught a nasty cut like at his eyebrow.
That's a quick turnaround. Got concussed one weekend, then wrestling the next. But yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cut that. Yeah. So, yeah. I'm a massive fan of Nathan Cruz. I think he's awesome. I think he's the first Progress champion. I love he still carries around that staff what the original Progress championship was. So, I think he's somebody who's hugely underutilized in the UK scene personally. But anyway.
Like, I mean, like the matches that were on the show in general, like they're really good. And again, like for a debut, I didn't do too bad. Like I got to ref like the women's title, which is a big deal anyway, because that was one of their big storylines going into it.
A shout out to Raven as well, getting an appearance over there in such a high profile match.
Yeah.
How cool is the Foxy seeing how big of a deal she is over in the UK and how highly she's thought of?
I'm delighted for her. Like absolutely delighted because like that's my friend, and it just I think that like she's that talented, like that her work will speak for itself. She has a very different persona, like a different look and a different way of working that stands out, because the way I look at it, I would have no problems putting her against one of the guys. Like she would not look out of place at all in the slightest. She would be so believable as a GN champion, going against like both men and women. Like I like that's how good I think she is. For her to be gaining momentum and really like building up her profile on the UK scene is fantastic. And to be a part of that as well is a great thing, because not only that, I get to work with her again, which I don't get to do often, but but just in general to be able to like, okay, like this is a really cool moment, like, and I have a great photo which I'll share with you later on. But basically, it's me holding the belt up in the middle of the ring. And you have like Lana Austin on one side with a crew, and then you have Raven on the other side, just like big smile on her face. I'm like, yeah, this is cool. This is cool.
It's kind of cool. Like Ireland, like anything in Ireland, it can be quite insular, or you could like it feel slightly removed from other. You can have a perception that like things outside of Ireland are bigger, or people can treat Ireland as lesser Generally, that can be applied or not just wrestling, but everything really. And then you go over to the UK and you see how much, not necessarily better, but how good Irish talent is in any field. Particularly, like obviously we're talking about wrestling here now, but like I met Lee McAteer at the Full of Wrestling show last year, and he was raving about Raven Creed. He couldn't get over. He loved her. That she was unbelievably unique and talented as well, and he was thought the absolute world of her. And I know they did there was a progress show the night before the Full of Wrestling. She was facing Danny Luna, and by all accounts, she stole the show. So it's absolutely brilliant to kind of get that appreciation of somebody that's kind of not taken for granted, but maybe not as appreciated as she should be, maybe.
I think maybe it is a case that you do kind of take it for granted, and I think it's more a case that you just like you see these people so often that you just become accustomed to it and you forget how good they actually are until as we say, like you see them outside of the bubble that you're used to seeing them in, and then you're like, oh shit, like mate, like I'm not appreciating that enough at home, you know. And it definitely, like, that's something that is sticking with me coming off the back of that London trip, is that I'm definitely appreciating a lot more of what we actually have closer to home. And seeing it when you see the likes of these guys going abroad and the reactions that they get, like,
I tell you, my appreciation for our one and only Irish ref has gone through the roof.
But again, like that's another thing as well, and I know we've said it about LJ and Sessions, and I know that like you're kind of having a bit of a joke there, but I know that
I'm
being
serious
as well.
Yeah, I'm serious.
But like, yeah, like it pleased me so much. Like when Foxy told us that he was working the Progress show maybe a couple of months ago, like it was definitely one of those like so proud of you, like. And then I was in Foxy's ear then for 2 months then saying like, are you talking to other promoters? Get on to other promoters, get other shows, there's loads of shows going on, why aren't you working other shows? And probably fucking done his head in with it like for a couple of months every time
I was already
talking,
doing that anyway. That was the thing, like I was logistically like trying to see like, right, which shows can I actually realistically do while I'm there. Like, so I know Progress was the definite, but I was trying to think like, okay, you have All In on the Sunday, but like, what about Saturday, Friday, and Thursday? Because in the UK, they virtually have a show every day.
Yeah.
In the UK, it's just whether you're willing to travel to it. But like, again, just look at the cards. It was like, right, I got Riot Cabaret on Friday. I have Progress on Saturday. I may not have gotten Defy as well, like I wanted, but still, I got to meet people and I got to talk to people. So like, it was a good way to connect. And then obviously you had Sunday, which was just, my God, like going into Box Park or whatever the place is called. And just as soon as you walk in, you look up on the balcony, there's people from like Walk Culture, there's people from Wrestle Talk, there's Kenny McIntosh is over there talking to people. You have people from like certain other like promoters from different places just walking around, and then you have like wrestlers and workers all going around. It's like, this is a fucking convention here. Like, fucking hell. Like, brilliant opportunity. Like, not only like in not a show setting to just hang out and actually mingle. Like, I got to meet the guy that does blacksmith apparel. Like,
right, yeah.
Oh, class.
My God, like I was expecting him to be like mid to late 40s, like just fucking like, and just happen to stumble across it. No, it's a kid. He's like 20 odd, like very early 20s. He just has the stuff nailed down, like just and nice chap, very nice chap. Like his stuff is quality, like absolute quality, like, and like dude absolutely cleaned up. Like I'm fucking like I was definitely jealous anyway, that's for sure. Like, but still though, to see people with an idea for something different and it actually working, that's always fantastic to see.
Yep.
Like, but yeah, like Jesus, I don't know what else to really tell you. Like, fucking that weekend was fantastic, and then as I said, we did the Progress, but like we all went out afterwards, as you do. Like
again,
and plus me not really known to go out after shows, especially here, because either I can't afford it or I'm just exhausted.
paying £8 a point in the boar's head.
Like, whereas like over there, because there's multiple refs, I'm not as exhausted after a show, so
Yeah.
therefore like I was able to actually go out and enjoy myself. And having as I said, people looked after me so well, like over there, like they didn't need to, like it was great to see like Rocky Mac again, like it just like I'll miss him so much, like fucking. So to be able to see him at the Riot Cabaret was fantastic, like actually getting to talk to him again, and then congratulating him again for his wedding.
His nuptials.
but like to go out after Progress though, like a few of us all met up as well, and we just had fun, like just kicking it and having trading stories and the usual stuff. But like so fun. I just that it was one of those moments where I was like, this is why I love wrestling. Like I love being able to just hang out with my friends, just have a good time and share fun stories, or like talk about shit, like talk about how to put yourself over. Like it's just like, yeah, it's the usual fucking wrestler thing. But nah, I loved it. And then Sunday was fantastic. Like myself, Tom Scarborough, Tate Mayfairs, Nina Samuels, like we're on the lookout to get tickets for as cheap as possible. And fair play to Nina Samuels, she got the hookup. Like we got like tickets for obscenely cheap. Like
Go on, tell us.
Let's put a single digit.
Yeah, I know those
Great,
tickets
yeah.
going for like £7 and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cheapest I saw was like 20 the evening before. I think it was like
Yeah.
the Saturday evening. I seen
Yeah.
20 quid tickets. But
So it was
It's
like the night before there was tickets for £30,
mhm.
Yeah.
but they weren't taking into account the handling fee to
Okay, yeah.
whatever it was, which
Yeah.
brought up to £50.
Okay,
So even if you were getting like the cheap tickets, as it were,
yeah.
you were still gonna be paying a good bit. Whereas
Yeah.
we got very lucky and got like, I think it was like $6.50 each.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
granted, it's in the nosebleeds. Fuck it, I just want to be there.
Cost you more to buy it and sit at home and watch it.
They opened up only the days beforehand, like 2 or 3 days beforehand. They opened up so many more areas behind where the kind of the AV tent was.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them around there were around kind of similar prices, and they might as well get as many
Yeah.
bodies
absolutely.
in the building, get as much money as you can.
Get that numbers up.
Get
Yeah,
numbers, get
yeah.
fucking get finances up, get everything up.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Just
First
while
time being, first time being in Wembley Stadium, like fucking amazing. Like,
Isn't it? Yeah. It's fucking
man, just that long like Victory Road fucking like
yeah.
leading up to it. I'm like, and seeing a sea of people just walking in one direction.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like
It's-
a crazy sight to have. As soon as you get off the train and
yeah.
just look down the road.
So one of my
I know-
favorite parts of the day was actually getting off the tube and taking that walk up to the stadium. Just because like
Yeah.
it's a spectacle in itself.
Absolutely.
It was like 8 a.m. for you as well, wasn't it?
For me, it was great. Like, and I actually appreciated it more because there was no one around. There was a couple of little street vendors starting to set up, like ice cream vans were pulling up and stuff. But there was only like a very few small people. Like I'm talking single digit people, like just milling around. So I had the place to myself walking up and took a couple of selfies, a couple of pictures and stuff, and it was just nice. And then you start to feel the buzz build then throughout the day. But yeah, it was definitely one of the best parts of the day. Was just taking that, coming off the tube and you see the stadium right in front of you, go out under the bridge, and like that walk up is just, it's just a lovely spectacle of what's to come with an even bigger spectacle inside the stadium.
Exactly. Like the atmosphere was unreal. Like as I said, I've never been to Wembley Stadium, so like just being able to get into the place, I was like, this is brilliant. But when you get up to the stand and you're walking around trying to find your where your block of seats are, like just the fact that you're walking by, it's quiet, and as soon as you pass an opening, you just hear a wave of like noise.
Yeah.
You look out and you just see bright lights, and just like, that's fucking crazy. But
Yeah.
then walk out and actually on the stands where like your seats are, and just looking around, it's unreal. Like an unreal sight.
Yeah.
Regardless like how fucking high you were in the place, Like you were gonna see it. You were
Yeah.
gonna see the show.
Yeah.
The best stadium. It's the best stadium, arguably in the world, but it's definitely the best in Europe. Anyway, it's just
Cost them enough,
different.
like, didn't it?
Yeah, but yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
I
but
think,
it's just
I think I heard it, and again, not to shit on Wembley because it's a phenomenal stadium, but I think one of the things that I heard was that like it cost them more to build Wembley than it did Germany to build like 3 new stadiums and refurb like 7 for their World Cup. The extortionate amount of money. I think they were hitting close to $1 billion.
we can't really throw any stones. We can't really throw any stones over here, though. To be fair, like it's like
Oh, yeah,
over here,
absolutely.
like National Maternity Hospital and stuff like
Yeah,
so.
there's a hospital still being built that should have been done years ago. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
I think we'd be a bit remiss because as Foxy was doing progress, myself and Mark made the arduous trek across London to Copperbox, which was fun in itself.
We got worked by Corvin as well.
He didn't get worked. He was just being a dick.
Yeah.
We came out of the train station and Corvin is walking into the train station as we were walking out, and quick hello. Oh, how are you? What are you doing here? You going to Rev Pro? No,
I'm not going. Rev Pro? I'm not going there. No.
All right. You going to All In tomorrow? No. Why would I be? No.
He's there like storms off. His wife and friends are carrying his luggage behind him, and they're just kind of left standing there. And like, all right, okay, that was a strange interaction, but yeah, it's funny. Lo and behold, he was working everything.
Kayfabe, brother. Kayfabe.
Yeah.
Leave him to it if that's what he wants to do. I was just being friendly and saying hello, but Google Maps. We got worked more by Google Maps on my phone than we did by Corvin, in fairness. My phone told me that we were going the right direction when we were actually going the opposite direction. The compass was turned around for some reason. I don't know why. So we ended up going like 5 minutes in the opposite direction to come 5 minutes back and then go back up towards Copperbox. This was after being caught in a thunderstorm, after taking it probably a good hour and a half to get across on transport, and knowing that the show was starting in I think the show had started, the pre-show.
The pre-shows. It actually worked out, to be honest, because by the time we got there was 0 queues. Everybody was seated. We can kind of wander straight in. And the good thing, I love that venue is like once you go in the front door, your seats are right there.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of one walkway around. It's quite short and shallow. It's so navigable. And like obviously it's the arena where Katie Taylor won her gold medal in 2012. So that kind of additional kind of nostalgia for us. But it's a brilliant acoustics, except for the fucking speakers were a million times too loud. But like, it was honestly thought I only have one eardrum left.
It was really loud.
It was obscene. But anyway,
like I know at shows like you expect like loud noises, you expect loud music and stuff like that. But this was like if anyone knows what a soundboard looks like, it was hitting the reds. You know, that's what it was like. It was like it was screeching at you, you know. And then unfortunately there was a ring announcer that was trying to shout over the music and was very high pitched as well, so she didn't do my eardrums any favours.
No.
But as a show, and I know that we touched on this on our All In show, like it was a very different type of show. It was very how would you say it? It was very indie wrestling heavy, to an extent, very Japanese style. A lot of kind of single matches, less story, more wrestling.
It's very much tailored in the New Japan style. Every match is building up towards a more and more important match up the card. You're not going to structure a card in terms of opener, mid, trying to play in for kind of lulls in the crowd. This is the way New Japan do their matches, and each match typically gets longer and longer and longer as they go. So it's very much booked in that vein. I assume Andy Quilden, we were looking to have him on the podcast, and hopefully have him on again soon to do a review the show and a preview of Royal Quest and whatnot. But his booking philosophy is very much in the vein of New Japan, and I assume Gato was there as well, and it was pretty much a Royal Quest, or not a Royal Quest, a New Japan show to basically a talent that was made available for it. So I assume it was very much a collaborative joint effort in that vein.
Yeah, you presume as much. Very enjoyable show. It did take me a little bit to kind of get into the show a bit. I think the earlier show, the early start, the travel kind of put me in a bit of a slump for maybe the first hour or so that I was kind of watching but wasn't really into it, if that makes sense. And then, I think it was around the multi-man match with Robbie X, who was massively a standout in the match, and that kind of started to come alive. And then you have Luke Jacobs, Ishii, which is phenomenal. The women then knocked it out of the park. The fans were wrecking me head with that fucking hardcore country literally on repeat for 10 minutes.
Hardcore country.
That was it.
No, nothing in between. Just hardcore country. Hardcore country.
Easily 10 minutes. Yeah,
Yes.
that was fun.
Nope.
But props to the women. They all smashed it. Alex as good as ever. It looks like she didn't miss a step with that injury. Like she's phenomenal.
Hyan, who'd been on the Defy show earlier in the day, was doubling up doing the Rev Pro show. We saw the likes of RKJ was doubling up as well.
Yeah.
He was in the battle of the juniors with Zach of the Sabres and Ricky of the Knights. Allegedly, the loser is not allowed to call their child after themselves, so that'll end their bloodline in terms of juniors. That's what I was told. So Ricky won't be allowed to call his child Ricky, is what's been determined. So Zach is the victor, and he'll have a long line of Zachs following him now. So Leon Slater was in the opener, having had an unbelievable match with. Who was he with? Was he in the Defy Progress show as well?
He was on the Progress show, wasn't he?
He was meant to be booked against Nick Wayne originally, but I think that might have been pulled. But there was a few talents. It was a few talents who had double jobs essentially.
I think Sky Smithson as well, wasn't she on Progress? She was with Lana Austin. She was in the opening battle royal as well.
Yeah. And then there was obviously AEW talents appeared. Sky Blue and the battle royal at the start, and then there's a couple of run-in surprises at the end of the show, which I'm sure we'll touch on in a few minutes.
Yeah, going into it kind of surprised me a little bit. We were unsure whether they were going to do the Rev Pro heavyweight championship match or the Ospreay Takagi match last. They actually went with Ospreay Takagi last. Can see reasonings for both. For me, if it's my promotion, I'm having my championship on last. That's just my view on things. I think it probably should have been switched, based on what happened after the matches on the main. I don't know. It's kind of like you're sacrificing your own main event for another main event. That's just my take on it. But Trent Seven and OJMO absolutely killed it. Probably the best I've seen Trent in a long time, and we've had him over a few times. And like Trent never gives you a bad match, you know. But like this one, he definitely stepped up his game. Emira took a massive pile driver off the apron through a table to the outside, which was unbelievable. And then Trent with the I don't even know what it's called, the sit down
Michinoku type thing, or
it was kind of like a Michinoku driver,
the like spin out fucking I think it's the Emerald Flosion.
We did that to OJMO off the top rope to the outside through a table as well, which was like two massive pops. And then OJMO with the retention. We had Spike Trivet then coming back after the match. But the crowd was just so high for that match. It was just a phenomenal spectacle.
I can kind of see why they had Will Ospreay in terms of the main event, because that was the match they sold the tickets on. Like the tickets were sold around. Andy was kind of promoting it as Shingo and Will have never had a match rated but less than 5 stars by Dave Meltzer, which is it's a funny strategy to sell a match. It's not selling a story, it's selling somebody's opinion, which is a bit strange. But anyway, that was kind of what the tickets were sold on, and I understand they had an angle to be played out later as well. We saw Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez were there again, but it was funny to see where they're situated. They were at the very, very back of the guys on the floor, which kind of reflected some of the decisions they had in terms of their star rating in the subsequent Observer newsletter. He only gave 4.5 stars for the Luke Jacobs Ishii match, even though it was I thought it was easily the best match of the entire weekend across any show.
Match of the night and arguably match of the weekend.
And then he gave 5 stars instead to Will Ospreay Shingo, where a lot of people thought that wasn't quite their best, even though it was an excellent match. So it was just funny. But listen, I absolutely loved it throughout. You got to see Shibata. Like that man didn't have a brain a couple of years ago. Like he got taken out of his head. And we could see Shibata just battering people. so many cool little moments. Like even get to see Subculture and return. We've seen Velocities coming over to Dublin, former OTT Thai champions. Got to see Greedy Souls coming in, battering them. Then, obviously going to see the legend like Mickey James, Will, Shingo. Like I thought it was a really, really cool card overall.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of, like, if you were to look at a card and say like what's the one card over the weekend that I wanted to be at, that was probably it. That Rev Pro card was probably it, because it takes off so many of some of my favourite wrestlers around the scene, and again just has that style as well, that different type of style that, to be fair, probably isn't for everybody. As we said, like there's a lot less storyline going into it. There's like Progress would be more storyline heavy, where they're telling stories, they're creating moments, where Rev Pro was probably the opposite. And again, like that's just something that I kind of bought into. But overall for a weekend was amazing. I don't think anybody did this Sunday show before All In.
There was one or two shows. Yeah, I know the Meltzer and Alvarez did a live show for Wrestling Observer newsletter, and
there was a wrestling show as well. I think
it was a Coliseum Pro.
Coliseum Pro, that's the one.
I think LJ did that show.
LJ and Raven Creed did that. They, from what I was told, they purposely asked for earlier matches so they could fucking get to All In. Because they wanted to watch the show.
So tight that they put that show on. I think that was like, I think they did a 2:00 start, didn't they?
No, I think it was.
Did they move it back?
12.
Was it 12? Okay.
I think it was 12, so that way they could get out early enough to get to Wembley for.
It was still a trek to Wembley, as far like I was looking at the logistics of like going to it and then getting to Wembley. It was still a good hour away from Wembley, so it was pretty tough, like if that runs over a little bit, to get there for All In. But then there was the House of Wrestling ran their first show on the Monday, which I don't think any of us were around for. Friends of mine were at the show. They said it was a great show, very entertaining. They got a couple of surprises. Anthony Ogogo popped up, said that he wants to work more indies as well around the scene. So watch this space. Will Anthony Ogogo be around UK and Ireland?
He was at the Progress show with QT Marshall as well from AEW, which is a pretty cool spot. Sorry, we touched on it earlier. Chris Jericho did a run in at the Rev Pro show, which is class. Got to see Aussie Open, the former kind of stalwart of the UK scene for a long time, came in as well. Chris Jericho touched on all this on his podcast this week, Talk is Jericho, and he was talking about the Trent 7 Oku match. You kind of funnily thought it was very overbooked, but it's just funny to kind of hear the different perspectives, as he was kind of in the background watching the match itself. He said he loved the Ospreay Takagi. He actually talked about in his podcast this week as well. He was talking about that infamous Ospreay Aussie Open seminar they did in the School of Irish Wrestling a couple of years ago, where Aussie Open and Ospreay met Jericho. Well, they met Jericho the night before. He was doing a Fozzy gig in Dublin, and they decided to try keep up with Jericho drinking wise, and nearly killed poor Colin and Mark. And
that's why they were hanging at the fucking seminar.
Yeah, well, Kyle didn't go.
Make the seminar.
And poor Mark was getting sick out of the side of the car the whole way there, he said. So it was really cool kind of story to hear.
I don't know if you remember that show, Foxy. Do you? As far as I heard, the guys were still puking in the run up to their match.
Yeah, they weren't well. Yeah, let's put it like, bless the poor children.
we're not all born with iron livers like you, Niall. So this is
no. I'm more just like, they were trying to keep up a veteran like Jericho.
Man who drinks vodka straight. That's his drink of choice, also, which is
Grey Goose.
Wow.
That shit is expensive.
Not for him, it's not. Pocket change.
Yeah, it's pocket change for him, but for us, it's for him, it's a pittance.
Yeah, vodka straight. Jesus. Anyway. Not for me. Any sort of spirit straight, not for me.
No carbs, that's why.
No, God, I nearly got killed. I was fucking on the Saturday night. I was meeting some people and they got given a fucking couple of glasses of tequila, and sweet Jesus, I don't know how anybody enjoys that. Anyway.
Yeah, it's
disgusting.
It's not my typical anyway. Obviously Dwayne The Rock Johnson fans looking for some Terramana. Cheap plug there.
Still want to try it. I still want to try it.
I try it, yeah, but like I mean, I'd probably just immediately die. But
Tastes like every other tequila to me.
Because of the bill.
yeah.
It's expensive.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
that would cost about $2,000. Anyway.
Yeah, guys, I think I think that weekend and the stuff that was on, and I think we're all kind of testament to it, that like you're not going just for All In, and if people are thinking about going next year, like there's plenty of other wrestling on, and I'm kind of anticipating that there's gonna be a couple more maybe taking the trip after the success of what this one held. So if people are thinking about getting over, like don't just go to All In, like have a look around, see what else is there. Like one of the things that actually shocked me, and I remember saying this to Mark, was that Rev Pro didn't sell out. Now I think they announced that they did like 4,200 in a 6,000 seater, which is a great turnout. 4,100 is nothing to be sniffed at, but for the card that was there, that
should have been a sellout.
That should have been a sellout. Absolutely, that should have been a sellout. So, maybe a lot of people didn't know about it or didn't know the logistics of it. But yeah, absolutely, guys. If you're there next year, if you're planning on going, take the trip. Riot, Progress, Defy, Rev Pro, Eve, wherever else is on. Go support your talent. Go support Foxy. Let's get them booked next year again. And hopefully we see more of them in the UK as well. We're all proud.
Foxy will be in the middle of that ring in the centre circle of Wembley Stadium next year. I'm manifesting this now. I'll be nearby just going, Niall, remember me? We did a podcast.
Foxy just blanket.
If by some chance
I don't know him,
that'd be fantastic. Like I'm definitely not going to say no to that, like that opportunity. Like, but again, I just hope that this weekend, especially with the likes of Riot and Progress, it just showed them, okay, there is someone else that is available. There's someone that can do the job that's asked of them. Hopefully that opens the doors to get me over there for other places as well. Absolutely. And I think, unfortunately, I will have to rely on some friends to get that. So.
Yeah, but that's what networking's for. It's the same. It's the same in any line of work, particularly in a competitive market space like this. I mean, it's very very few people in any line of work would have the same level of skill in their discipline as you would. So, more kudos to you, my friend.
Right. Again, it's also more experience as well, working on a different level. With different talent that you're not familiar with. Like it's a very different monster to what I'm used to here. And I've always said it, I never wanted to be complacent or become too comfortable in my job, especially here. Sadly, unfortunately, that can happen, because if places aren't bringing you over, you're gonna be stuck here. So yeah, that's why I want to get out of here so much.
real life happens as well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, stuff like it's so many other variables that like when people have families and work and everything else. So like there's always sorts of complications to these ambitions and dreams. And again, you can apply that to any sort of goals or tasks. But yeah, listen, I've no doubt, given your success, you're given a Progress Women's Championship match. That's huge. Obviously, incredibly well thought of. And yeah, like I said, it's good to see you got so much out of the weekend as much as anything, and got to experience kind of just getting out of the bubble as much as anything, and get to see that your skill sets are appreciated outside of our own kind of scene.
Yeah, hopefully people watching this as well, like tag your promoters, tag the promotions, tell them about Niall Fox, tell them to get him over, tell them about your favorite wrestlers. Like it's on us fans as well to kind of like be pushing these people, you know.
That's it.
It's how they get noticed. So
we don't get noticed unless fans actually like do it. Like it's so the way I say it is like it's hard enough for wrestlers to get booked for different promotions, but not only that, to get booked abroad. But for the likes of me as a referee, it's 100 times harder, because a lot of promotions won't fly in someone or pay for their accommodation and do a show. Like when they can just throw short on people.
Yeah.
Like, it is what it is. It's the real life. That's what happens. A lot of people can argue that, but very tough to argue with someone who's lived it. So.
Well, let's hope that the job that you did, you said that you got some good feedback there from the likes of Shah and stuff, and hopefully that will stand you in good stead going forward. So, more Noel Fox in the UK. As much as I'd hate to see you go, I'd be very happy to see a bit less of you in that kind of vein, you know. But yeah, the massive weekend, very fun. Get over next year if you can. We'll all be there, I'm sure, again. But yeah, I think we'll leave it there. Like, follow, subscribe, the usual stuff. Thank you very much for joining us all here today, and we'll see you on the next one.